honestly, life was much simpler. There was no conversation around education and stuff. Marriage was always considered as a safe fallback option, or rather, the first option. So I didn't know if something like Delhi University existed. No clue. Had never heard the name Delhi University. For I actually had nothing to offer to NGOs also. That's what my initial realization was. That I think was a game changer or a life changing 2 years of my life. I realized one thing कि हर संस्था में या हर जगह, हर प्रोजेक्ट में, हर सर्कल, हर ग्रुप में, इंडिविजुअली तो आप कुछ निकालने वाले नहीं हो. आपको इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट करना है, आपको लोगों के साथ मिलकर करना है. सबको हर जगह डूअर्स तो चाहिए ही चाहिए, जो करके कर दे चीजें.
Thank you for joining us on We Talk. The podcast is not just to discuss your current success, but to understand the why and how behind what makes you the leader you are. Today we have Divya. Divya from a small town, Kota, Rajasthan, has gone through a very, very interesting journey where she struggled to first go to Delhi University and from there to the Gandhi Fellowship and after all to Netherlands and working at the UN. A very successful leader and a very, very interesting journey for all those who continue to struggle in life. So, thank you so much, Divya, and welcome today for coming and joining us.
Hi, Bindi.
It's a pleasure to have you over here. So, Divya, why don't we start from the very start on your journey? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about you.
Firstly, thanks a lot for getting me here. I am from Kota, which is a very popular study town in Rajasthan. That's where I come from. That's where family is. That's where I grew up till my school.
And can you tell us a little bit more about, where did the journey from Kota begin? So, what did you want to study when you were little? Where did you want to go after?
I mean, honestly, life was much simpler. There was no conversation around education and stuff. Of course, everyone goes to a school and everyone does the usual normal thing. We play more than we would be studying. I mean, those were pre-2006 times, right? No phones, nothing. One landline phone in the entire colony and all of those kind of, days. So again, like typical, and I see that a lot even today, but no clarity on what can you do in the future, no exposure whatsoever. Especially for young girls, there was anyway nothing, because there is more fear around your safety than concerns over your education or what you could become, because marriage was always considered as a safe fallback option, or rather the first option. I mean, in my case, like always, like the first option by my people, I was surrounded by. So honestly, not much clarity, but then I think as an individual, I reasonably felt like lost after a point in my school, and I knew there was something that I wanted to do. This usual stuff of do your schooling, do a local college graduation, and then get married at the age of 21, 22. By like that was the age when everyone was getting married, and still a lot of my cousins are, get married at that age, depending on who is who. But and again, this not a unique phenomenon. Obviously, we are all aware of it. This is across the country. And then I was like, nahi yaar, ye to matlab nahi, this doesn't seem right. This is not what I want to do. There's definitely something else. It was overall tough to really get exposure to even good academic content. I think that remained a big challenge. And that's when a small incident happened where I started giving some free, like non-paid tuition to 2-3 young kids in the colony who didn't come from very well-to-do background. I did that for a few days, and I don't know, somehow that small experience really stayed with me. And then I decided that maybe there is something which I can do to fix some problems that I see around. Honestly, at that age, at 15-16, there was not more to do this, because this is the only thing I could think of. And that's when I think in 11-12, then I got like little exposure from, again, lack of information and information asymmetry, which is still very much the case, was massive back then, because we didn't have devices, we didn't have internet. So it used to be, so I didn't know if something like Delhi University existed. No clue. Had never heard the name Delhi University, right? And school friends, sister's friend had some connection in Delhi, and she got us a 30 rupees prospectus of last year of DU, and that's how I got to know that there are 100 colleges, and then there are so many courses, etc. And then I only knew one thing, that to get into DU, I mean, back, of course, I think the cutoffs are ridiculous today. I mean, I feel bad for that, but what I understood is I had to cross like some 80-85% whatever to get into a good college, um, and get into a girls' hostel, because otherwise it wasn't possible for me to stay in Delhi. So those were the conditions, and then I mean, of course, things fell in
तो
place.
कैसे पहुंच गए, मतलब from Kota to Miranda House? I remember the struggle, you've told me about it, but tell us a little more in terms of how was it at home, how did you land up in Delhi, लड़के आए, कैसे आए, क्या
So
करके आए?
I mean, initially obviously it was like a little bit shock for everyone,
Yeah.
right? Like, because Delhi, मतलब कैसे जा सकते हो आप? Because we think of Banasthali and Jaipur, and maybe people from our villages were coming to Kota to study. So that was the maximum range that we could ever think of, unless you cracked a engineering college or a medical college, then that was an entirely different thing. But back then, at least girls in my family, in my extended area, were not really taking math science that much. So even that number was fairly low. And see, it's also linked to then access to books, access to good tuition classes, everything. So I mean, there's also gender that plays, in all of these decisions. So I get to know about this whole DU thing, kuch exist karta hai aisa, and then I make 2-3 friends who also have similar aspirations. There was something in my head, like like something I have to fight for, and I have to do something different. Along with, I understood that I can't do it alone, and it takes a lot of help to arrive anywhere. So I think that is one thing which I've always been very, very clear about, that individually I'm nothing. I go ask for help when I need help. So I think that I learned very early on कि मतलब if I don't ask for help, कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. I have to ask people, and people will help when I ask.
And you took these 3 friends and you did what? You landed up in Delhi?
So we all had a conversation firstly with our parents. Our parents had to have a conversation with their extended family, because it's not like oh, my dad can decide whether I can go to a college or not. Of course, today times have changed. In last 17-18 years, they have massively, like, I won't say massively, but there is a shift. So they had to talk to then their elder brothers and sisters to say that the daughters have to go to Delhi, because they potentially have the admission. So we have to go and check this once. So of course, first stage was convincing like parents that this is something which is doable, because they had not experienced it at all with anyone. So for them also, it was a very, very new thing. So of course, I mean, I remember saying, either I go do it, or I don't study at all, like forget about it. So I think that push really like then helped. And then of course, a lot of conversations happened over some 20-25 days. And then we were convinced to an extent, okay, let's go and see. Actually, there was never a yes. In all honesty, there was never a clear yes. Okay, let's go and check. So we all, like 3-4 girls, go together with our parents, like a big group, going to Delhi, and then figuring out, talking to people. All of that happened. And then, of course, there are a lot of cultural shock, elements when you first enter Delhi University, which you don't see otherwise back home, right? So I think those cultural references were very like surprising and shocking for my family, and even for me. So I was equally a little nervous again. It took all of that. Obviously, like having good academic record in my 12th class, that really helped if that was not there. But then I worked like really, really hard for it, because I could not rely only on my teacher. So I had to rely a lot on my own, like, education and stuff.
And, from there, you landed up in the Gandhi Fellowship. But even before that, I think the experiences that you got, your internships or your jobs, what did you do to even get your first job or internship?
Well, that's a great question, honestly, because that is the stage where a lot of young people break down. So you can either make your life, or you can break and go back. And with majority, and when I say go back to whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like not basically move forward and just again do things which you don't want to do, but which is safe and family wanted to do and stuff. A lot of my friends have gone on that path also, where they could not kind of keep doing what they wanted to do.
तो पढ़ाई छोड़ के घर चले गए?
I mean, पढ़ाई छोड़ी नहीं भी हो तो पढ़ाई के अंदर भी मतलब when they were in college, they couldn't step out, they couldn't do internships, they couldn't like negotiate, talk to parents, and then eventually मतलब इतना pressure होता था कि अच्छा graduation करते ही या तो आप MBA के अच्छे college में जाओ या आप IS करो या फिर आप वापस आ जाओ, or you do an MA and then just come back and like let's get you married sort of a thing, or join a family business if you're a guy, some one of those things. I remember when I landed in Miranda and I got admission in hostel, and I was like very very happy because I was like, very big milestone achieved. Now this can potentially change my life. And then cried for 2 weeks because I was homesick. I was not comfortable. I could not introduce myself in basic English. So language barrier was a massive problem. And मतलब नहीं आती थी इंग्लिश बोलना, और नहीं आती है मतलब तो आप नर्वस हो जाते हो, यू डोंट फील लाइक शेयरिंग योर ओपिनियंस, आप अटक अटक के बात करोगे, फ्रेंड्स नहीं बनेंगे आपके. यू कैन लर्न मोर फ्रॉम योर फ्रेंड्स who maybe come from a better exposure background. I mean, that's a beautiful way to actually learn. You also break class barriers.
Right.
If you're able to do that, it's nothing more beautiful than that. But that takes time because you need to take more initiative for that. And then I was like, no, this is not working. Something has to be done and more value has to be added. And I think one realization was that the difference between me and some of my other classmates who had better exposure or better communication skill was that they just had a different, of course they were bright, but they also had a different upbringing. And instead of sulking about it, how can I match up, what are the skills I can pick up, how can I gain more experience. But ये समझ आ गया था कि कॉलेज आना है, पढ़ाई करनी है, ग्रेड्स लानी है, बट इसके साथ कुछ और करना है. From college second year, which was 2008, I went crazy when it came to internships, volunteering. I remember I used to have like no pocket money, but I would take that blue bus ka very infamous blue buses of Delhi, take that monthly pass, finish my classes, come to South Delhi, do the NGO internships, whatever, and like do a lot of volunteer work, talk to them. And then again, what did I have to offer? I actually had nothing to offer to NGOs also. That's what my initial realization was. Then you know what I did? So with 2 NGOs, I worked with like 2 or 3 organizations before I actually took leadership positions in my college society also. Nobody was willing to give me any position. I mean, in the beginning, obviously, because I was like nobody. Anyway, a lot of like communication and other issues. But I was able to pick that up. But I realized inside college I was more intimidated. So then I started having relationships inside college with like talking to other women and like making friends, but at the same time stepping outside, finding people who also come from small town, figuring their out life and how we can help each other. So I think my milestone was never like here कि मुझे यहीं पे सीधे बन जाना है, but from where I am, how I can improve that further in 6 months or 8 months, whatever. My first job, I mean internship at an NGO, my first week task I still remember was arranging like library and taking a scissor, cutting articles, pasting it on a whatever diary and making like resource material. I mean, now if you think about it, कि यार मतलब ये तो school में हम करते थे, and all of that. But I think differently because just being in that environment of being in a professional setup, being with people who are extremely well educated, intellectually very sound, just listening to their conversation, having a meal with them, being in that office environment, for me, I had to start from minus. And I was very comfortable doing that. I was like, I will do anything that it takes for me to spend 2-3 months in this office and learn. And I think then there was no stopping. Then I did another, 5-6 months long internship. Again, this was not non-paid. And I put like a lot of hours on a weekly basis to do this.
I remember your first internship, you told me that, I don't know how many phone calls did you make for it? Like,
yeah. Oh, yes, you remember that. My favorite example. So I think when you walk from Miranda College back gate to, this was a Mother Dairy. There used, when you go towards Law Fac, there used to be a PCO booth there outside the Mother Dairy, and no laptop again, right? So I used to go to computer lab. Thankfully, I used to live in hostel, so computer lab was open for like 10 hours for me. researched in a normal diary, made a list of 50 NGOs. I still remember, with their landline numbers and email IDs, made some flimsy resume. ऐसे दो तीन दोस्तों को बोला प्लीज मेरा resume ठीक कर दो language ठीक कर दो, because that time there were none of these AI tools. I didn't know, please मतलब just do it. So people helped, and then it was still flimsy, but I sent it to all these 50 email IDs over a period of 3-4 days. Even to type an email, like figuring that out, because I didn't have any computer science training, so everything I was like learning on the move. And then I learned to use a proper computer machine. On all of that was going on, and then I was like, acha ab kya kare, email to kar diya, now what? So then I took all the landline numbers in a diary, and I used to go every day, maybe make 10-15 calls कि कोई तो उठाएगा, and then I'll tell them कि मैंने आपको मेरा resume भेज दिया है, if you have an internship, would you let me know? And then of course I had that dabba phone, so people would like, I got one call and that converted. It's a wonderful organization, and yeah, that was quite
And that
something.
started your journey sort of.
Yes.
And tell me, from all of this, then you landed up at the Gandhi Fellowship, which is
Yeah.
not normal. Early batches थे,
Yeah.
ये तभी तो brand भी नहीं था.
कुछ नहीं
It was
था.
a very new thing that was happening. You were almost
Yeah.
second batch.
Yeah.
And girl from Kota landed up in Ahmedabad, or was it Churu, Rajasthan? Where did you land up? So,
for 1.5 years I was in Ahmedabad, then I was in Churu, Junjunu for first.
और घर पे कितनी लड़ाई हुई कि हमारी बेटी क्या कर रही है, घर पे आना, you're not coming home and getting married. You're going गांव में पता नहीं कहाँ बच्चों को पढ़ा रही है slums में या गांव में तो.
So back then I think my father had put this one thing in my head कि देखो अगर सच में पढ़ाई करनी है ना तो UPSC क्रैक करो. And फिर मैं थोड़ा बहुत रिसर्च भी किया है, इसका जॉब क्या होता है, what do civil servants do, because I always had a lot of interest in fixing problems. Genuinely it gave me a kick कि कुछ तो fix करना है, like something I have to fix. So it gave me a lot of kick, and I was becoming decent at academic, because that's another thing I realized. I had no like exposure to a lot of literature books, novels, simple things like storybooks or novels which people had read in like 5th, 6th standard. Me and some of my friends had not seen them, only had not heard of the authors only. So there was a lot of catching up that had to be done. But then I was like, okay, let's catch up a little bit and build your own thing, because you can't like replicate, and it doesn't work like that. So you go with your intuition and what gives you, a kick. Gandhi Fellowship was a very, very different, ball game. So another, going back to the reference of, how we make or break our life in those years. When college was ending, all of my friends were going to JNU or one of those colleges, or going for an MBA. I didn't want to take money from home. I wanted to build something on my own. I didn't want to immediately go for a master's. अब ये सब मुझे उस वक्त क्यों feel, it's hard to really pinpoint why I didn't go for a master's, but I had a feeling that I will do something better hands-on. Like take me to a rural area, take me to some other place. I'll do something more hands-on, operational. So anyway, those thoughts were going on in my head, and then Gandhi Fellowship happened. Honestly, I didn't think that I would crack it. It was a very, very difficult selection process. I mean, very, very tough, like rigorous 3 days of field visits and some ridiculous number of interviews. And then, like, yeah, it's a lot of like interviews back then. And people who are interviewing you, I mean, they can be really page 3 people, and you can be really intimidated by any of that. So that was for sure like something. During the interview and during the entire process, I was 100% clear that this is what I want to do. I was just too inspired by the people who interviewed me, but I was still feeling कि मेरा नहीं होगा. And then eventually पूरे college में से I was the only one who got through the fellowship. That was a storm, because that was not the part of plan, like that at 20 and a half you will go and do a job, because for them it was a job. Fellowship is a more popular concept now. Back then it was nothing. Back then it was very, very tough. Gandhi Fellowship has no like branding back then. It was like fellowship का idea लोगों को समझ नहीं आता था. People would ask, अच्छा बेटा package कितना है? That was a little tough patch. But I think once I got into the fellowship and got the initial 1-month training, then the slum immersion happened. I didn't share back home that I'm going and living in a slum at all. So at all, like I was like, okay, seems okay. I'm not doing anything categorically wrong. Yes, 20-30% safety risk is involved, but you got to do this because I feel like you got to do this, so you will do it. Yeah, that I think was a game changer or a life changing 2 years of my life. Then I think finally at the end of the fellowship, I felt that there was now no, looking back.
So this looks like a personal journey, right? Like सिर्फ अकेले करते गए, लड़ते गए, like you kept fighting with the world and with yourself at some level.
Mhm.
But were there other people in this journey, like mentors or individuals or adults who sort of stepped up and said, "तू कर सकती है, हो जाएगा, तेरा तू निकल जाएगी." Were the people out there who played a pivotal role in this journey somewhere?
I mean, okay, I'm a firm believer of two things. I mean, in the context of your question, one is that we are nothing individually. One is that I think I was able to keep identifying people who could support me. People in terms of, okay, sometimes appreciation helps. It definitely does help. It gives you validation. In my situation, a bigger role play was done by people who thought that I could not do, and more to do with failures, or the fact that you are looking at me, or the presence and the environment is making me feel that I'm less, or I'm not good enough. I think for some reason that actually motivated
So
me.
anybody who said तू कर नहीं पाएगी, तूने बोला मैं दिखा दूंगी तेरे को.
मैंने उनको कुछ बोला नहीं, but I think that stayed in my head.
अच्छा.
And that really, I don't know, I just went crazy in my head.
So from the Gandhi Fellowship, I mean, then you did a master's at Ambedkar, then a whole bunch of different things, and then the UN happened. So just that journey, how did, so many jumps from a child who was not confident to a child who was running national level programs?
Again, like I think at the end of fellowship, I had one clarity that I wanted to, I loved the whole idea of small is beautiful, etc. And I was not that much for scale, but at the same time, I also wanted to work very closely with the government, because I felt that government, no matter what, holds the system and avoids a lot of crisis as well. So it's also the biggest scale one can operate. Say, I mean, in my case, I wanted to get into hardcore program management and with a little bit of research, right? But then I also had to define the areas, so field areas, right? In my case, for example, it was women had played a very, very crucial role, like the whole issue around that, and women and children anyway were amongst the most vulnerable. Within that, I added a rural tribal angle. So I basically started developing that these are the niche that I would like to develop, and I would like to work on them for the next few years. I think that really made me a strong professional for a lot of, I mean, can't say a lot, but for large scale organizations. So I could like at least, fit in, because even when I was going to, I mean, we can talk about how did I get into, the ministry and the UN space, but I think even when I got into these spaces, like I was the only person who had a Gandhi Fellowship experience. Going back to the whole thing of, figuring out early on that scale पे अब काम करना है, government के साथ काम करना है. I had not cleared UPSC in my first attempt. I didn't have the resources to go for second attempt back then, and I didn't want to stop. So it was very, very, it was literally like, again, another make or break situation for me, that I do not have the luxury to prepare for UPSC for 5 years, 6 years. I also can't live in a completely unsafe environments either. So, and there was a lot of other pressure, right? Peer pressure. There were other friends who were doing UPSC and stuff. So that always plays a role. But everyone's reality is different. And instead of holding a grudge, I was like, my reality is different. I cannot do this. I have to figure out something else for the next 3 to 4 years, because I have to build my experience, and we'll see if I can come back to this. One feedback that I received even during those years was that even if I lagged a few skills, I was willing to learn. And I was very clear and carried some amount of passion for the work that that particular department or UN system or government set out to do. So I think I was very, very motivated to keep building on that experience. I think that obviously helped me a lot. I think ये भी होता है कि कभी कभी ना, मतलब अंडर कॉन्फिडेंस, जब मतलब आपका कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं होता है उतना ज़्यादा, या फिर आप नर्वस होते हो, या आपको लगता है कि बाकी आपके आसपास लोग बहुत ज़्यादा स्मार्ट हैं, बिकॉज मेरे को हमेशा यही लगता था, एंड लाइक जेन्युइनली मुझे यही लगता था, मुझे आज भी यही लगता है कि everyone else around me is just way too smart. But you know, I realized one thing, and which is everybody, every single organization, every company is looking for doers. And I think Steve Jobs or someone said this, that thinkers are doers. And I think that thought has stayed with me, again, that you don't have to categorize yourself as a thought leader or a this or that. If you really are a doer who can get things done. I realized one thing कि हर संस्था में या हर जगह, हर प्रोजेक्ट में, हर सर्कल, हर ग्रुप में, इंडिविजुअली तो आप कुछ निकालने वाले नहीं हो, आपको इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट करना है, आपको लोगों के साथ मिलके करना है. सबको हर जगह डूअर्स तो चाहिए ही चाहिए, जो करके कर दे चीजें. एंड आई वाज लाइक, ये इसमें मुझे मजा आता है, and I will build this as a personality also, that I will try and become a doer. And of course, the side which is weak is that maybe I'm not enough data oriented, maybe my writing is not that great because I learned English much later, maybe I can't think through patterns and data patterns ki ye zyada hai to ye bhi zyada hi hoga, and all of those things. That is something which I need to put a few hours every week. I should do that, and then that will be good. And that's how basically Netherlands happened, right? Because I was working with the government system and then UN. Then I was like, okay, अब ये भी सीख लिया, अब क्या करें?
UN is a dream, right? Like UNDP, NRLM, मतलब UN projects में काम करने के लिए it's a dream for most of these kids. And a lot of them say हमें UN में internship दिलवा दो. कितना easy या difficult होता है? Can they just walk in and say हमें दे दो?
I mean, you have to. You can't just sit down one night and write a good resume with fancy English and AI. That doesn't help. You have to build your profile, you have to build your resume. A lot of people, even personal mentors and coaches would tell you that, right? So you don't just suddenly today decide that you want to do a UN internship or like a job in one of these leading organization. You will get it because you have to, unfortunately or fortunately, like you have to show some amount of credibility or diversity of past years of experience. So you have to build it over a period of time. But I've also seen people changing their life in like 1 year. So I also say that there is variety of people out there. There are exceptions all the time. Sincere efforts, but it won't happen overnight. I mean, I wouldn't want to say that it happens overnight. In case of these organizations where I have worked and what I have mentioned, I mean, all reality is that these are much smaller teams also. These are not like large scale hiring sort of systems at all. These are very few people get hired yearly in any of these organizations. So obviously your application is sitting with 3,000 other applications, and then you are doing one written exam to one interview, then maybe a final interview. Those things that's the reality in India for anything, right? Like your profile will go through 10,000 things.
And what's next for Divya then? Tell me, like you've done the UN bit, you've done a bit of work actually with us, helping us build some parts of the strategy. But what's next for you now? Besides obviously the big project that's on the way. So.
Yeah, well, yes. So, I mean, I'm 36 and all of this has been done. And I think maybe like another young person, I am also at a crossroad now. Because I've really had a lot of, I have had my own share of struggles and challenges, but when I look back, I've also had a lot of fun working on different things, meeting people. I traveled to interiors of roughly 19-20 states in India in the last few years, and that was some exceptional experience as a young woman traveling alone most of the time. So it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fear and adventure at the same time. I've also got like decent amount of international exposure because I lived and studied outside. So all that has been done. Now it's literally like a drawing, I don't know, a whiteboard again, where I want to, because I think none of those challenges are there in my head that I have to prove this or that, but I really want to be bigger at contributing now and creating social impact. I mean, I really think that I'm at a crossroad, but at a very happy crossroad, where I feel very, very comfortable being done, being a hustler, being like shown some amount of continuity, gained some network, decent, gotten respect, given respect. All of that has been, done. Now something else has to be something else has to be done. So I'm looking at a few new things now. One of the things is generational transformation. Like, how do we completely transform, some of the households which are not well-to-do, but they have, young people who can maybe the leading way for changing their reality. So how do we, so I've done large scale projects, but they come with certain limitations. But how do we do deep, very, very deep level of change? So I think that is one of the new questions that I have. I think early childhood development is another thing which is really like giving me interest these days. Women economic empowerment, girl child education remains very close to me.
So basically, what I'm
as a-
hearing is it's a whiteboard with lots of ideas. Abhi.
with a lots of ideas, and I've given myself some time to be able to figure this out.
That's pretty nice. So, quick rapid fire. I think the first one you've already answered. But what is the one misconception about working for free?
That you don't gain anything, you gain so many things. So you are juggling between whether you can do a free internship or not. Let's put it that way, right? और या मैं वॉलंटियर करूँ कि नहीं करूँ, मतलब मेरे पास तो खुद के पास पैसे नहीं है, राइट? तो आपने वॉलंटियरिंग और गिविंग और इंटर्नशिप के थॉट को ही वहाँ पे पूरा मतलब खत्म कर दिया, राइट? What instead you can do is, can you do a mix of things, right? Practically, so that you're not doing things again half-heartedly. You know that this is for experience, this is for ABC purpose, and that's what I did. I mean, I did so many internships where I didn't take there was not even a single penny, but the experience was so crucial because time is money. I mean,
That's a nice one. Okay, what is one cause you would work for if you had, say, a month in your time?
Work with young people, help build their profile, dream.
And then, what's your message to the WeAll community, the students, the volunteers, all the people engaging with WeAll, if you can tell us?
I mean, hustle and contribute to the projects which you think you relate to, because there is variety of that out there. So you can pick and choose and play around what you want to do and what are the skills that you have and you want to develop, and that may just help contribute to a good cause plus contribute to your own experience as well.
Thank you for joining us today, Divya. It was really wonderful. Appreciate you coming and join for the podcast. It was wonderful listening to Divya and hearing her journey. I think we have so much to learn from the insights of how one hustles, how one works, how one continues to build their portfolio. I think I learned so much from this, so I'm sure you did as well. And if you want to listen to such stories like Divya's, then follow us on VTalk and like, subscribe, share all these interesting podcasts that we are talking to different leaders out here. So thank you so much.